Good morning, everyone. Namaste. I'm going to call in Archangel Michael to cleanse the space, to clear out all negative and lower vibrational energy from our mind, body, and soul, home, and heart, placing the white light of protection around us with his blue seal, as well as Archangel Raphael and his green healing light, Saint Germain in the violet flame, Archangel Zachiel, the violet fire, the pink and golden white light. Due to, guys, this is going to be a trigger warning. We're going to be reading more out of My Body Keeps the Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. So if you're not prepared to deal with your trauma, that's okay. Just please scroll. I don't normally need to wear glasses for this book, but because my eyes are blurry, it might help, I'm hoping. It's an ascension symptom if you have blurry eyes. It states, during my time at the VA, I got to know the men who responded similarly. Faced with minor frustrations, our veterans often flew instantly into extreme rages. The public area of the clinic was pockmarked with impacts of their fists in the drywall, and security was kept constantly busy protecting claimed agents and receptionists from enraged veterans. Of course, their behavior scared us, but I was also intrigued. At home, my wife and I were coping with similar problems to our toddler, who was regularly throwing tantrums when eating their spinach or putting on warm socks. Why was it that I was utterly concerned about my kids' immature behavior, but deeply worried about what was going on with the vets, aside from their size, of course, which gave them the potential to inflict much more harm than my two-footer at home? The reason was I felt perfectly confident that with proper care, my kids could gradually learn to deal with frustration and disappointments. But I was skeptical that I would be able to help my veterans require the skills of self-control and regulation that they had lost in the war. Unfortunately, nothing in my psychiatric training had prepared me to deal with the challenges that Tom and his fellow veterans presented. I went down to the medical library to look for books on neurosis, shell shock, battle fatigue, or any other terms or diagnosis that I could think of that might shed light for my patients. To my surprise, the library at the VA didn't have a single book about any of these conditions. 5 years after the last American soldier left Vietnam, the issue of wartime trauma was still not on anybody's agenda. Finally, in the Count Wayne Library at Harvard Medical School, I discovered the traumatic neurosis of war. So he had to go to all those different places just to find one book on the traumatic neurosis of war, which is crazy. It should be at the VA vet library. It says, which had been publicized in 1941 by a psychiatrist named Abraham Gardner. It described Gardner's observations of World War I veterans and have been released in anticipation of the flood of the shell-shocked soldiers expected to be casualties of World War II. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at that, guys. But I also want to really remind and express that PTSD and trauma is not obviously just held to war victims. So a lot of these symptoms can be of somebody who has been in a traumatic situation. I'm not going to go into what types of traumatic situations. We all know what type of traumatic situations we're talking about. Abuse, physical, all different types. But all of them can lead these lasting impressions unless you deal with it, you release it, you get in. Again, it's a body, mind, and soul. So if you are going to therapy, therapy is amazing, but is only treating the mind. I would not even completely say the mind, because it's not treating the subconscious. For that, I would recommend hypnosis for the subconscious. For the body, holding on to that trauma in your chakras, I would recommend Reiki for that, acupuncture for that, screaming into a pillow, writing a letter, and reading it out loud and asking God to take the pain away from you, surrendering it to God, and then they can step in and help you once you have surrendered that. So I love you all. I hope this helps, and namaste.